I assume that you already know how to teach photography, but you want to know how to teach photography online. I've discovered the best approach to do this that will not only allow you to teach effectively, but it will market your services automatically so people who need you know how to find you. In fact, they're magnetically drawn into your videos. First, we're going to talk about the strategy of how to teach photography online. Then we're going to talk about the structure of your videos and how you can start and how to keep people's attention. Then I'll share with you the most efficient way that you can prepare your content before filming. And then lastly, I'll share with you a strategy that if you follow this while making your videos, they'll automatically become marketing machines, and so they will bring in people to your videos, and I'll share that with you. I make hundreds of educational videos every month on YouTube. This is my expertise, and I help lots of other educators do the same. In fact, many of them are doing extremely well financially. Several of them are making six figures every month, and we follow this exact strategy. So here's an overview of the strategy. People that want to learn photography, they have questions, right? They're going to Google and YouTube, and they're asking these questions online, maybe about what camera, the types of lens. You would be the one that would love to answer their questions. So what we're gonna do is create these how-to videos that answer their questions, and here's why. Let's say it's a 10-minute episode. Somebody goes to Google and YouTube and they type in this question. Your video comes up because it's an exact match. It's exactly what they were asking, so they of course click on it. Because it's exactly what they want, they're watching your video all the way to the end. Now the YouTube algorithm sees that and says, wow, this is a valuable video. Let's suggest this video more and more. So these videos start to become machines that market your business and are pulling in people who want to learn photography from you. This is gonna sound crazy, but the type of leads you get this way are better than referrals because they see you in video, they're making eye contact with you, you're giving them value for free. They begin to build this relationship of trust with you, right? They admire you and they want to hire you. The first step is to do keyword research before filming. Now, when you hear keyword research, if you're like me, you feel the overwhelm of search and optimization and all the many steps you got to go through. And I want to just ease your mind. I'm going to show you a tool that takes this very, very important step and makes it really simple. Okay, so check this out. This is called the Keyword Magic Tool. It's by a company called semrush.com. They have a lot of tools. This is the only one of theirs that I use. And if I want to teach people photography, okay, let's just type in photograph. And I'll hit search. There's a very important button right here that I'll hit, and that's questions. I always turn on questions. And then I come over and I always turn on this advanced filter word count, and I'm going to go up to a minimum word count of 8. That's the default where I start every time. So I did 3 things. I typed in photograph, I hit the questions button, and then I set a minimum word count of 8. And let's see what we find in here. How much does a photographer make per hour? If you want to talk about the business side of things. Another business one, what qualifications do you need to become a photographer? What is the best option for taking a macro photograph? What is a good camera for a beginning photographer? I've got an idea for a better search like picture. Maybe we'll use the word picture, but before I do that, I want to show you this export feature. So I've only selected 4, but when I hit this button right here, it actually downloads it to my computer as a spreadsheet. And when I open it up, I prefer to use Google Docs. So when I open up the download, I just highlight those phrases, put it in my clipboard, and I take it over to my Google Doc. All right, let's do an example of a search that's a little bit more specific. So if you're teaching photography, maybe one of the lessons you're going to do is how to use a DSLR, or maybe you might do something about lighting. So let's use DSLR and see what type of questions people are asking about DSLR cameras. So of course there's questions like, what is a good beginner Canon DSLR camera? Or what's a good camera to start with? What if I, instead of putting the word camera, I put settings? Okay, how to set a timer on a DSLR camera. You can make an episode all about that and how and when you might want to use that. How to set up a photo booth with a DSLR. That's an interesting topic. Ooh, and this one's perfect. How to use manual settings on a DSLR camera. Now, I want to point out this phrase, I called it perfect, and yet it's only got 10, a volume of 10. That means that only 10 people are searching for that phrase per month. Okay, that sounds like a low number, and it's a low number, but it's actually a really good topic for you. Now here's why. This phrase is, I'm counting, 8 words long. So it's an 8-word phrase. There are a lot of ways that people might ask that same question with just different wording. But this exact phrase gets searched an average of 10 times per month. Now here's what happens. Those 10 people, when they type in this phrase into Google or YouTube, they will see your video because you've titled your video exactly this way. They'll start watching it and they'll watch it all the way to the end because this video is exactly what they need. You're going to answer their question. Now the YouTube algorithm sees that and says, wow, we sent these 10 people there because of search and they watched it all the way to the end. We need more people to watch this video. And so YouTube will start to find all the other related searches of people who would like to watch this video. So your video will get more and more views over time. You post a video with this title today and it'll rank on the top of YouTube today. Now hold on just a minute. I just noticed that you haven't subscribed yet. So there's a red button. Go ahead and click that red button and subscribe to this channel. And then right next to it, there's a bell. Click that button as well. That turns on alerts so that each time I upload a new episode, you'll get an email from YouTube and you won't miss a thing. Once I have the titles selected, the list of videos that I want to film, and I'm ready to prepare the content, I use the same outline every time. This is what the outline looks like. I've got my title. I can make notes about my intro if there's anything I want to say specifically in the intro. I remind myself to give content hooks. Then I have several bullet points where I can just put the talking points of things that I want to talk about throughout the video. What I want to talk about first, second, third. I might end with a story. And then I always have a very specific call to action, whether I'm recommending the video that they should watch next or the lead magnet, the free gift that they can get by clicking the link below. Now, we already talked about your titles. Remember, this is probably an 8 or a 9-word phrase. That's what your title is. In your intro, you're basically reading the title to them and then telling them why it's important. So, hey, in this video, we're going to talk about this long sentence. I've been doing this for years, or this is really going to change your life, right? So something profound, something that's a why of why they need to watch this 10-minute episode. We're going to talk about the content hooks in a minute because we need to have the content prepared first. One way that you can think about it is in time. Like I'm going to spend a minute here, then I'm going to spend a minute here. I'm going to share a story, maybe that's 2 minutes. I've got another minute here, and I've got another minute here. You'll know the time as you go along. Now, when you prepare it this way, you don't want to memorize it and on filming day try and remember all bullet points because guess what? You can pause. I'm pausing a whole bunch while recording this video, but I know that my editors will just edit out those pauses. And what I have all my clients do is they do point number 1. They look at their notes and then they come and they look into the camera and they deliver point number 1. They might talk for 1 minute, 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, and then they finish point number 1. Then they come back, they look at their notes. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to talk about next. Then they come back to the camera and they deliver point number 2. They're not thinking about what point number 3 is. In fact, we want them to intentionally pause after they're done talking about point number 2. They come back to their notes, they look at point number 3 and they think, oh yeah, that's what I was going to talk about next. They look at the lens of the camera and they deliver point 3. This is the best way to prepare your content because 1, it's simple. You're not writing out a lengthy script that might take you a couple of hours to prepare for one video. Now you can just bullet point the talking points in maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and that episode is prepared. And you can take the burden off your shoulders of having to memorize all this content because you've just got memory joggers. I'm going to talk about this first, then I'm going to talk about this second, and you're going to pause between each one. Let's talk about the best way to start an episode. There are 2 things that you want to make sure you do in the intro, okay? You want to talk about what is the video about and why should they care? Why should they watch this 10-minute episode? So let me make up an example. Let's say you did keyword research and you found the question, what is the best wide-angle lens for portrait photography? Okay, what is the best wide-angle lens for portrait photography? If I were to do the intro to that episode, I might say, welcome back. In this episode, we're going to be talking about what the best wide-angle lens is for portrait photography. I love portrait photography, and there's some cool things you can do with a wide-angle lens, especially if you have the right one. So let's dive right in. Okay, so I told what the video's about. I repeated that question, and I expounded on it a little bit more, kind of gave myself some credibility and created curiosity about what's coming next. Two things: what it's about, why they should watch. After you've done your intro and the little opener has played, your little branding piece that's 6 or 8 seconds long, then comes the content. And you want to start out your content with content hooks. So I want to demonstrate how not to do it and then a better way to do it. So on the outline here, I'm going to just demonstrate with this title, How to Get Rid of Strep Throat Without Antibiotics. Now, Doreen Spackman, she's the expert on this topic. She taught it to me. I've used the remedy many times, so I'm going to pretend that that's my expertise, okay? And here's my outline. You notice I've got 3 words or 1 word or 2 words, okay? Very simple outline. I've got 6 different points that I'm going to cover in the video. First, let me demonstrate how not to do the content hooks. All right, as we dive into this topic of how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics, really you just need 3 ingredients. If you go grab some garlic, some cayenne pepper, and some raw honey, and you mix that together, you take that, it will wipe out your strep throat. I just gave away the whole episode, right? Why are people gonna need to watch longer? Or maybe they don't believe me. Maybe they think, oh, that sounds too good to be true. Let me go find a better video. Or maybe they do believe me and they go leave to see if they have those ingredients in their kitchen. Who knows, but they're certainly not gonna stick around for the full episode. So here is a second attempt, and I'm gonna set some content hooks that create curiosity. All right, as we dive into this topic of how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics, first, we're going to talk about why not antibiotics. And there's some good reasons why you might want to consider an alternative. Then there are 3 ingredients. We're going to talk about each one and how each one is a natural antibacterial and a natural antiviral. It's amazing stuff. Then we're going to go to the kitchen. I'm going to show you how to prepare this and how to take it, dosage and whatnot. And then I'm going to wrap up with a story. My son, when he was really young, he had a high fever, he had strep throat, and we used this remedy. He also experienced a side effect that you're going to want to know about because you're probably going to experience this side effect as well. All right, let's dive in. Okay, do you see what I did there? Do you see the difference in the first example and the second one? Hopefully you see how the second one really would create a lot of curiosity and didn't give away the secrets. The whole goal is to create curiosity and help them think, wow, this is an amazing video. I'm excited to spend the next 10 or 12 minutes watching this episode. Now let's talk about the end of the video. You want to have a call to action if you want your channel to be profitable, right? If you want to make revenue or you want to have customers or clients, you need to ask them to do something. But it's actually easier than you might think. You don't have to sell them anything at this video, which would kind of be weird when it's an educational video, right? You're giving away information for free, and then at the end you're trying to sell them something. Nope, we don't have to worry about that. Give them a free gift. Okay, so you might say something like this. Hey, now that you've learned how to do A, B, and C, I want to give you a free copy of my book. I go way more in depth on this topic, and if you click the link below and you just cover the shipping costs, I'll send you the book for free. That type of a call to action or that type of a lead magnet, the gift that you give away is called a lead magnet because it attracts leads. That can be really effective because in order for them to pay the shipping costs, they need to give you their name, their phone number, their address, their email, and they're paying a few dollars so you know that they're committed. So it's a high quality lead and you get a lot more of their contact information. As a heads up, the lead magnet that I'm going to give away to you for watching this episode is my Influencer Almanac. It's a digital piece that has a lot of valuable information in there, but there's no cost at all. You just get it for free because I don't have to ship it out to you. I can just email you the link. Another thing that I want to talk about call to action is engagement. You can ask people to do things like, hey, remember to subscribe. Did you notice how I asked you to subscribe earlier in the episode? I was over there sitting on the stairs. Most people wait to the end of the video and their call to action is that. But what that does is it tells people to leave. It says, you know what? I'm all done. You can be all done with YouTube. See you later. See you tomorrow. You actually don't want to give any signals like that. So at the end of your videos, you either have a call to action to a lead magnet where if they are going to leave, they're going to your website, or you have a call to action that leads them to the next video that you recommend that they watch. So you might say something like this. Hey, now that you've learned A, B, and C in this video, if you want to learn X, Y, and Z, go watch this video next. You can point to it, you can tell them the title of the video, but that way they're not ending their YouTube session, they're actually continuing and going and watching another video that you recommend to them. I typically will recommend that we do 5 episodes that link to a lead magnet. So the call to action is to go to a lead magnet. The other 15 would link to those 5 videos. So it'd be, hey, if you've learned A, B, and C, you need to go watch this video next to learn X, Y, and Z. And then at that video, the call to action is the lead magnet. Now that you have clarity on this strategy for teaching photography online, I do have a free gift for you that's going to help you even more. It's called my Influencer Almanac. This is an online resource where I've packed all my tips, all my tools, and all my strategy. I've shared some of that strategy with you here, but I go into depth so you can understand how to do it and how to implement it yourself. So to get my Influencer Almanac, just go ahead and click the link below and you can get access to that for free right now.